My father's neglect pushed me into Aunt Seraphina's embrace, who taught me how to truly live. It was only half a year after my mother's passing that my father remarried. From the moment he took his second wife, his callous indifference turned him into a stranger, as if I had acquired a stepfather instead of a loving dad. My stepbrother Leo hid my entrance exam ticket, nearly making me miss the high school exams. Yet they claimed I was overreacting. In a fit of rage, my father John threw me out. I wandered aimlessly in the suffocating darkness until Aunt Seraphina found me. "Aunt," I choked, does he not love me anymore?" Her voice was unwavering. "No, he doesn't love you anymore." "And if he doesn't, does that mean you can't live?" she challenged, her gaze piercing. "Your father is over 40, his career's a dead end, he's bald, wrinkled, and has a potbelly. What's so special about losing a man like that you'd weep for him?" On the day of my high school entrance exam, I couldn't find my admission ticket. My father frantically tore through the house, searching, all the while scolding me. "You truly are a careless child. How can you not be ready with something so important?" I was so distraught I could only cry, but I vividly remembered putting the ticket in my bag. Last night, I'd checked it multiple times. There was definitely no issue. The stepmother, Madame Wu, quietly sat on the sofa, pulling Leo close. "Leo, why are you so reckless?" she said, her voice dripping with feigned concern. Suddenly, my father's phone rang. It was my homeroom teacher. Luckily, she had taken a picture of my admission ticket beforehand. All I needed was my ID, and I could still enter the exam room. My father hurriedly thanked the teacher over the phone, then dragged me downstairs, speeding like a madman to the exam center. Along the way, he continued to grumble and scold me relentlessly. When we arrived, my teacher was already waiting. Seeing me, she smiled, gently stroked my head, and said, "Don't worry, just focus on your exam. I'll take care of everything else." I took a deep breath, composed myself, and smoothly completed the first day of exams. But I never imagined that when I returned home, my admission ticket would be lying right on the dining table. "Jade, I'm truly sorry," the stepmother said, forcing a strained smile. "Your little brother was naughty. He hid your exam ticket last night. I've already disciplined him. He's still young, he doesn't understand. Don't be too hard on him." I stood at the doorway, tears streaming down my face, unstoppable. "I have to forgive him. He hid my exam ticket, and I still have to forgive him. Don't you think that's ridiculous?" "Jade, that's enough," my father frowned. "Your brother is small, he didn't do it on purpose." "He did do it on purpose," I shouted. "He broke my doll, he scribbled on my homework, and you always said he didn't mean it, that it was just a small thing and I shouldn't bother. But this time, he hid my exam ticket and you still say he didn't mean it. He's only 5 and already doing things like this. If you don't discipline him now, he'll grow up to be a..." The word failure hadn't even fully left my lips when my father slapped me across the face. Jade, what kind of talk is that?" he said, his face frozen in anger. "He's your brother." A string snapped inside my head. "He's not my brother," I screamed. "I don't have a brother like that. My mother passed away a long time ago. She only gave birth to me. I don't have any siblings." My father's neck veins bulged. "What did you just say? Say it again if you dare." The stepmother stepped forward, pulling my father's arm. "How could you hit her like that?" Her voice sounded concerned, but her movements were slow and deliberate. "Jade, quickly apologize to your father." "I'm not wrong," I calmly replied. "I won't apologize." "No apology, then get out. From now on, I don't have a daughter like you," my father roared. "Fine, I'll leave right now." I nodded and walked into my room to pack. I still had exams tomorrow. I needed to bring my books, pens, and my exam admission ticket. In the corner of my closet was a photo album, the one my mother left for me. Over the years, I had saved a total of 1375 yuan, tucked away in that album. Near the exam center, there was an overnight private cinema for 200 yuan. I could stay there for one night. As I took out the money, a small piece of paper fluttered down. On it was a phone number and 3 characters, Tafu Jayo. Tafu Jayo was Aunt Seraphina. Over the years, I had only met her twice, once at my mother's funeral and again at my father's remarriage ceremony. My father's new wife was the housekeeper in our home. At that time, I called her Miss Wu. At the wedding, Miss Wu, in her wedding dress, linked arms with my father on a stage covered in fresh flowers, smiling sweetly. I stood in a corner, clutching the small rabbit my mother had bought me, sobbing and sniffing. I used to like Miss Wu very much. She was so gentle, her smile so sweet. Every night before bed, she would sit by my side, telling stories and coaxing me to sleep. But I never wanted Miss Wu to become my new mother. I only had one mother, and she was gone. No one could ever replace her. Every time I thought of my mother, my nose stung, and tears threatened to fall. "Why are you crying again?" A hand gently patted my head. I turned to see Aunt Seraphina. She was wearing a white outfit and black high heels, large metal earrings shimmering under the lights. Seeing me stare blankly, she smiled faintly. She sat down, looking directly into my eyes. "From now on in this house, you must live cautiously. You can't be as carefree as before." Her voice held a hint of sadness. For some reason, I blinked and tears welled up again. "Oh dear, why are you crying again?" Seeing me, she frowned slightly, pulled out a tissue, and somewhat unhappily wiped away my tears. Then she handed me a business card. "From now on, if you encounter any difficulties, you can call this number. Remember that, little one." When I walked out of the house with my backpack, my father sat on the sofa, silent. The stepmother stood up, pretending to stop me. "Jade, it's so late. Where are you going? Hurry and apologize to your father. We're all family. There's no need to stay angry overnight." "You and I are not family," I said. "The three of you are a family." With that, I held back my tears and ran down the stairs. My stomach growling, I stopped at the convenience store downstairs and bought a 3 yuan loaf of bread. I sat on the curb and devoured it. The store owner saw me and approached worriedly. "Jade, what's wrong? Why are you sitting here alone? You have an exam tomorrow. Where's your father?" "My father," I choked. "He doesn't want me anymore." "How can you say that?" the uncle said, angered. "Jade, don't be afraid. I'll take you home, and we'll talk clearly with your father. It must just be a misunderstanding between the two of you. After all, you're his biological daughter. How could he not want you?" "He doesn't want me, uncle." I shook my head. "Can I borrow your phone? I want to make a call." I took out the small piece of paper from my pocket, slowly dialed the number, and after a long, heavy ring, the call connected. "Hello?" A clear female voice echoed from the other end. I held the phone, suddenly not knowing what to say. My eyes burned, and tears immediately streamed down. The other end didn't hang up, just silently listened to my crying. "Is that Jade?" After a long pause, I heard Aunt Seraphina's voice ask. After asking for my address, Aunt Seraphina said she was working in the countryside and would pick me up in an hour. During that hour, I sat in the convenience store, flipping through the photo album my mother had left me. In my mother's album were a few pictures of Aunt Seraphina. In them, she wore denim overalls, standing at the edge of a crowd with a cool expression. Aunt Seraphina's real name was Zai Thai Thai, the unfilial daughter, in Grandma's words. After graduating from high school, Grandma had arranged a marriage for her, wanting her to stay in the countryside to get married. But she refused. She packed her backpack and ran straight to Beijing, studying and working to complete university on her own without accepting a single penny from her family. After graduating, she changed her name, joined a large company, and rose steadily through the ranks. Grandma, thinking of her salary, wanted her to buy a house for Uncle Ben. Aunt Seraphina coldly laughed over the phone, then immediately hung up. She blocked all contact from her grandparents and uncle, making Grandma so angry that she stomped her feet, vowing to teach her a lesson if she ever returned. But she never did. Every year during Lunar New Year, Grandpa and Grandma would have 2 glasses of wine and loudly scold their unfilial daughter. But deep down, my mother always secretly admired Aunt Seraphina, believing she had done the right thing. An hour later, a car stopped in front of the convenience store. A brightly dressed woman opened the car door and stepped out. I rubbed my eyes, almost not recognizing Aunt Seraphina. 8 years had passed, and she seemed even younger and more beautiful. Her eyes scanned the surroundings, then fixed on me. "Jiang Jade," she walked over, picked up my backpack. "What are you staring at? Come with me." Aunt Seraphina thanked the store owner and led me into the car. "You still have your high school exam tomorrow, right? Which exam center?" she asked. "I'll take you to a hotel first." I told her the address, and she opened the GPS. The car sped into the night, bright with neon lights. As I recounted the grievances of the past years, her face gradually grew colder. Only when I sniffled and cried did she hand me a tissue. I took it, wiped my tears, and carefully asked, "Aunt Seraphina, does Dad really not love me anymore?" I was prepared to hear the answer, "Your father will never stop loving you." But Aunt Seraphina merely gave a cold laugh. "Yes, he doesn't love you anymore." Waited. Shouldn't she be comforting me right now? She slammed on the brakes, pulling the car to the side of the road. She turned to look at me. If he doesn't love you, does that mean you can't live anymore? She retorted. People become special in your eyes because they love you. If they don't love you, they're just an ordinary man. Look at him, your father is over 40. His career's a dead end. He's bald, wrinkled, and has a potbelly. What's so special about losing a man like that you'd weep for him? Aunt Seraphina booked a room at a hotel near the exam center. She told me not to overthink, to rest well, and perform well tomorrow. Think carefully about what's most important to you, she said, pinching my cheek. Is it your father's vague love or your exam results and your future? My heartbeat gradually slowed, returning to its normal rhythm. I understand, Aunt Seraphina. She smiled and pinched my cheek again. The next day's exam went smoothly. My final English test was effortless, even exceeding my expectations. As I walked out of the exam center, Aunt Seraphina's car was waiting. Seeing me, she happily pulled me into the car, reminding me to buckle up. Let's go. First, we'll go home so you can get your money. Get money? My father opened the door. Seeing Aunt Seraphina, his eyes paused, his hand awkwardly rubbing together. Thigh, it's been a long time. I changed my name a long time ago, brother-in-law. Now my name is Seraphina, Aunt Seraphina said with a smile that held no warmth. Pack your things, Jade, she said, patting my back. Take whatever you want, throw away what you don't. I'll buy you new ones. From the kitchen, the stepmother's head poked out. Oh, Jade, you're back. Realizing the atmosphere was off, she forced a laugh. What's going on here? Aunt Seraphina glanced at her, her eyes cold. I still recognize you. A few years after my sister passed away, you worked as a housekeeper in this house, didn't you? What was your name again? Tunvu, wasn't it? From the countryside, didn't finish high school. I suppose you also don't want Jade to attend high school, do you? The stepmother's mouth stretched into a stiff smile. Oh, why would you say that? I've always treated Jade like my own daughter. Enough, Aunt Seraphina said contemptuously. Don't spout those clichés. We all know what you're thinking. It doesn't matter. If you don't want Jade, I do. From today, Jade's custody belongs to me. I'll cover all her high school and university expenses. My father started to say something, but the stepmother fiercely pinched his arm. His mouth trembled twice, then finally, helplessly, clamped shut. Between me, the stepmother, and my stepbrother, my father had made his choice. A chill rose in my heart, but I only blinked, not shedding a single tear. Aunt Seraphina was right. If my father didn't want me, then I didn't need him either. Aunt Seraphina gave a cold smile, crossed her arms, and tilted her chin at them. If Jade's custody now belongs to me, then we need to discuss assets in detail. Do you remember? Before my sister passed away, she had already filed for divorce from you. She looked at my father and smiled faintly. Brother-in-law, you probably didn't know that it was my suggestion. After the divorce, I even went with my sister to notarize a will. At the time, because of the impact on your marital relationship, my sister didn't tell you. But it's okay, I've brought a copy of the will here. Brother-in-law, you can take a look. As she spoke, Aunt Seraphina took a piece of paper from her purse. Before my father could react, the stepmother snatched the paper. She quickly scanned it, her face instantly changing. This is impossible. She couldn't believe it. Sister Zai, she left all her assets to Jiang Jade. Aunt Seraphina's smile was full of sarcasm. Your words are truly ridiculous. My sister only has one child, Jade. If not for her, who would she leave her assets to? You can't say that, the stepmother raised her voice. This house was bought by Sister Zai and old Jiang together. It's marital communal property. Sister Zai passed away, and old Jiang inherited the house naturally. Aunt Seraphina chuckled again. You should brush up on your law. Before my sister passed away, she had already filed for divorce from Jiang Gyufu John. The ownership of the house was split in half. Furthermore, with this will, 50% of the house belongs to Jade forever. That year, I advised my sister to plan ahead, precisely to guard against people like you. My sister even advised me back then, saying that Jiang Gyufu wasn't that kind of person and wouldn't treat Jade badly. Looking back now, I really did have foresight. Aunt Seraphina's words were like sharp knives piercing my father, making him unable to lift his head. He stood motionless, like a cowering quail, his eyes fixed on the patterns on the floor. The stepmother frantically patted my father several times. Seeing him remain silent, she slumped to the ground, rolled up her sleeves, clapped her thighs, and cried out, "There's no justice anymore. This sister-in-law is trying to steal her brother-in-law's house." Aunt Seraphina pulled out her phone, opened the camera, and aimed it directly at the stepmother. "Go ahead and make a scene. Do whatever you want," she said. "I happen to have a few friends in the media. A story about a stepmother fighting with a stepchild over a house is very compelling. Everyone loves it. And my brother-in-law is a civil servant, a figure within the system. The media will definitely love a hot topic like this." The stepmother froze, sitting dumbfounded on the ground. "You dare to threaten me?" Her voice was shrill. "You really dare to threaten me? What do you think you are? An old spinster who couldn't get married, pretending to be successful, just earning some dirty money in the big city. Your family disowned you, you have no children, and in a few decades, you'll die alone, and no one will even collect your corpse." The stepmother's words grew increasingly nasty. Inside, my sleeping stepbrother woke up, wailing loudly. The noise was ear-piercing, but Aunt Seraphina's expression remained unchanged. She calmly held up her phone, continuing to record as if she wasn't the one being insulted. Instead, my father couldn't take it anymore. "Shut your mouth!" He grabbed the stepmother, pulling her to her feet, shouting, "It's not your place to talk here." His actions were so rough that red marks immediately appeared on her arm. My father had always been an easygoing person, always smiling with everyone both inside and outside the house. Before, he knew about the stepmother's blatant or subtle favoritism, but pretended not to see it. At most, he would pacify me with a few gentle words or buy a small gift, and that was that. This sudden burst of anger terrified the stepmother, who immediately fell silent. She didn't say another word, silently walking into the room to console the crying Leo. My father turned to look at Aunt Seraphina. "Thino, ta fujayo," he said, his voice choked. "It's good that Jade goes to live with you. Leo is also grown up. The two siblings can't crowd into one room forever." He forced a bitter smile. Aunt Seraphina turned off her phone and gently patted my back. "Go pack your things, Jade." I hesitated, walking inside, glancing back. Aunt Seraphina winked. "Leave this place to me, don't worry." My bedroom was a chaotic mess. The bed was covered with Leo's toys. The desk was littered with his crayon scribbles. My books and test papers were tossed haphazardly to one side. The traces of my existence were slowly disappearing, just as they had 5 years ago when Leo was born, slowly but surely encroaching on my living space. Before Leo, the stepmother had indeed treated me very well. But after he was born, her eyes toward me became wary and guarded, like a lioness who had just given birth, glowering at an intruder in her territory. The stepmother changed. Facing me, she maintained a gentle smile, but my new clothes and toys all vanished. Even when I drank a carton of milk from the fridge, she would feign surprise. "Jade, why are you drinking your brother's milk?" When she said that, my father sat on the sofa, reading the newspaper, not even bothering to look up. Aunt Seraphina once told me that from now on, I would have to live more carefully in this house. She was right, and yet not entirely. The result of my retreating and trying to live cautiously was being kicked out of the house. For an hour as I packed, the living room continuously echoed with sounds, the stepmother's scolding, Leo's crying, my father's rebukes. But Aunt Seraphina remained calm, her voice serene, articulate, and logically precise. After finishing my packing, I sat quietly in the corner with my bundle of belongings until knock, asterisk, 2 knocks on the door. Aunt Seraphina opened the bedroom door and looked at me. "Jade, let's go." She reached out her hand to me. Aunt Seraphina took me to her apartment, a high-end unit in the city center. It was a 3-bedroom apartment, but it had been renovated into 1 bedroom and 2 living rooms. The interior design was exquisite and expensive, yet it felt almost devoid of life. She said she bought it 2 years ago. Since she didn't often return to the countryside, she rarely stayed there. She also didn't think anyone else would ever live with her. As there was only 1 bedroom, she shared the bed with me. After giving me money and a phone, she became busy with work, leaving early in the morning and returning late at night. Her job was completely different from my father's leisurely work in a public institution. She was so busy her feet barely touched the ground. One afternoon, I was taking a nap when I was woken by a rapid, ear-splitting knocking at the door. "Open the door, Zai Thai Thai. I know you're home. It's your sister and Tianxi. We've come to visit you. Hurry and open up." The voices sounded familiar. I jumped out of bed and ran to the door, opening the doorbell camera. I saw 3 people standing outside. Grandpa, Grandma, and Uncle Ben. Since my mother passed away, I hadn't seen them. Even at my mother's funeral, they looked at me as if I were a pest, fearfully avoiding me as if I could infect them with something. This apartment building only had 1 unit per floor, and you needed an elevator card to go up. How did they know Aunt Seraphina lived here, and how did they get up? I didn't open the door. The three outside knocked for a long time until they got tired and stopped. Tianxi, is Thai really here? Grandpa asked hesitantly. My friend is sure he saw Thai here. How could he be wrong? Uncle Ben waved his hand. My friend, who I've played with since childhood, couldn't mistake my second sister. My second sister is doing well now. She even changed her name and looks much more beautiful. My friend works as a security guard in this building and said he saw her wearing a Chanel bag the other day. Mom, do you know what Chanel is? The cheapest bag costs tens of thousands of yuan. Tens of thousands? Grandma's eyes widened. That damn girl, is she earning so much money now? How can that be fake? No fake at all. Uncle Ben pointed at the door. Mom, do you know how much this apartment costs per square meter? 20,000. My second sister's apartment is so big, it must be at least 3 million yuan. Heavens, so much money. Grandma's mouth hung open. See, Mom, don't try to argue with second sister anymore, Uncle Ben said. When second sister comes back, don't say anything, just let me talk. Second sister was just angry with you before. Now that I talked to her properly, she definitely won't be angry anymore. Second sister and I are blood relatives, deep family ties. There's no way she wouldn't help me. She's not married and has no children. I'm her only support. Hearing Uncle Ben's words, I quickly called Aunt Seraphina. After explaining the situation outside the door, there was a long silence on the other end. A moment later, I heard a concise reply. All right, I understand. Her voice remained calm, unruffled, rationally composed, as if the people standing outside the door were not her biological parents and brother. I sat in the room, listening to the fragmented conversation outside. It turned out that Uncle Ben had a girlfriend and was preparing to get married, but the girl's family demanded a house as a dowry and 200,000 yuan as a betrothal gift, not a penny less. Grandpa and Grandma couldn't afford that amount, so they thought of Aunt Seraphina again. Nearly an hour later, the elevator doors opened. Uncle Ben's eyes immediately lit up. Second sister. Before he could finish, 2 police officers and a middle-aged man in building management uniform stepped out from behind Aunt Seraphina. Aunt Seraphina pointed at the 3 people standing in front of the door. Officers, these 3 people illegally entered my residential area without my consent. Hearing Aunt Seraphina say that, Grandma immediately flared up, jumping to her feet. You damn girl, what did you say? She rolled up her sleeves and lunged forward, intending to slap Aunt Seraphina. I'm your mother. You dare to call the police to arrest your mother. Hey, what are you doing? The police officer stepped forward, blocking Aunt Seraphina and stopping Grandma. You dare to hit someone right in front of us? Seeing the police uniform, Grandma immediately lowered her voice, becoming meek. How could that be, officer? I'm her mother, this is her father and her brother. Yes, that's right. Grandpa also rushed over, saying, Officer, we came to visit our daughter's house. How can that be called illegal entry? Grandpa, Grandma, Uncle Ben? The police officer's eyes swept over them, then focused on Aunt Seraphina. Is that so? Aunt Seraphina's lips curled into a sarcastic smile. From a legal and bloodline perspective, yes, that's correct. Then this is just a family dispute, the police officer said. See, this is the power of bloodline, Aunt Seraphina said. From a legal perspective, if a stranger hits you, harms you, they'll be detained or go to jail. But when family members do the same, the end result is just a gentle phrase. Family dispute. Aunt Seraphina scoffed, as if she had long anticipated this outcome. Family dispute then, family dispute. Aunt Seraphina shook her head. But I'm not pursuing them, I'm pursuing the responsibility of the building management. The building manager, who had followed behind, immediately flinched. Aunt Seraphina turned to look at him, her eyes as cold as ice. Why did the building management let strangers in without my permission? The manager stammered, they said they were your parents and brother. And you just believed them? Aunt Seraphina's voice was full of authority, pressing closer with each step. Did you call me to confirm? We didn't call to confirm, but they really are your parents and brother. The manager's face turned pale. Am I the one paying the management fees, or are they? Aunt Seraphina snarled. Without my permission, no one is allowed upstairs. Wasn't this clearly written in the management regulations? Do you need me to remind you? Aunt Seraphina raised her head, her gaze icy as she looked at him. And what's more, I never told anyone that I live here. How did they know I live here? Aunt Seraphina turned to the police. Officers, the building management has arbitrarily disclosed resident information and allowed unauthorized entry into my home. The evidence is clear. I demand that the building management compensate me for emotional damages. Ultimately, the matter was taken to the police station. When they saw that Aunt Seraphina wouldn't back down, the building manager quickly found the security guard who had arbitrarily allowed them upstairs and fired him on the spot. Grandma, Grandpa, and Uncle Ben, being a family dispute, were only given a warning and released. The security guard, who initially thought he was doing a small favor for a friend, never expected to lose his job. His eyes glared at Uncle Ben as if he wanted to kill him. Grandma and Grandpa didn't recognize me, they just thought I was a little girl staying at Aunt Seraphina's place. When Aunt Seraphina held my hand and walked out of the police station, Grandma and Grandpa still refused to let her leave. Thai, your brother is getting married soon. Grandma stood in front of Aunt Seraphina, chattering incessantly. You're in the big city now with money and assets. You have to help your brother, don't you? We're not asking for much. 1 million. No, 800,000. 800,000 will do. And your house, you don't usually stay there. Renting it to outsiders is the same. Why not let your brother use it as his bridal home? When your brother has children, he will definitely teach them to be filial to you. Aunt Seraphina acted as if she hadn't heard, opening the car door, ready to get in. Seeing her unresponsive, Grandma slumped onto the car, beginning her theatrics. There's no justice anymore. Everyone come and see. I gave birth to this unfilial child. She has money and assets but won't support her parents. Shut up, Aunt Seraphina roared. Since meeting her again, I had never seen her lose control like this. But one's original family is always the easiest place to break down a person's defenses. A rational and calm person, when angered, is truly terrifying. Grandma hadn't even had time to wipe her fake tears, sitting stunned on the ground, staring at Aunt Seraphina. Aunt Seraphina panted for a long time before slowly calming down. Mom, her voice trembled. Don't you think you're truly pathetic? When I first graduated, every penny you forced me to give you, you spent on yourself. I haven't relied on your money. Dad bought a new car, my brother bought a new computer. But what about you? You've worn the same tattered clothes for 10 years, use face cream as hand cream, and eat spoiled vegetables you don't dare throw away. Mom, look at yourself now. You have no dignity left, sitting on the ground making a scene like this for whom? Grandma was stunned, but her brain seemed unable to digest the meaning of these words. But you've become successful, haven't you? She said blankly. You're the successful older sister, you have money. Isn't it only natural to help your brother a little? I subtly frowned. At this point, there was absolutely no reasoning with her. Aunt Seraphina sighed, finally giving up. You also know that I'm successful, don't you, Mom? She said softly, a smile on her lips that seemed to hold malicious intent. Guess what? If I didn't have money and connections, how would I have earned so much? Earned how much? Grandma was shocked, then enraged. You slut, you really have no shame, I knew it. How could someone like you earn clean money? Yes, that's right. Aunt Seraphina nodded. Her high heels took a few steps forward. She bent down, looking at Grandma, who was still sitting on the ground. My money isn't clean, but I know quite a few people from all walks of life. As long as you don't come looking for me anymore, we'll keep to ourselves. But if you keep coming for me, I can't guarantee that someone won't come to your house and do things. Her eyes were so sharp that Grandma trembled. Anyway, at most, it's just a family dispute. Aunt Seraphina emphasized each word, her eyes fixed on Grandma. That night, I rubbed my eyes, went to the bathroom, and realized no one was beside me. Aunt Seraphina was no longer in bed. A faint light emanated from the living room. Aunt Seraphina sat at the bar, the glass in her hand sparkling under the light. I tiptoed over and sat down next to her. Aunt Seraphina? She jumped, nearly dropping her wine glass. This child, you scared me? I stuck out my tongue. Aunt Seraphina, what are you drinking? Wine, she said, but you're still young, you can only drink soy milk. A minute later, I was hugging a carton of soy milk, sitting close to her. I understand, I suddenly blurted out. Understand what? She asked. Everyone in the family holds a knife in their hand, ready to stab you at any moment, I said. She laughed. It's probably not that pessimistic. She stroked my head. It's just that we're unlucky. Yes, it's just that we're unlucky. 2 years ago, my middle school classmate told me that her mother had just given birth to a younger brother. Using my own experience, I subtly warned her that she shouldn't be too casual at home anymore. She needed to live carefully. My friend didn't understand my meaning, or perhaps she understood but just found it ridiculous. What if she had a younger brother? Her parents wouldn't stop loving her. I didn't understand her, and she didn't understand me. The sense of security and confidence she had was something I could never possess. 2 years later, at the high school entrance exam gate, her parents and younger brother came to cheer her on. The younger brother, holding a bouquet, immediately chirped, asking his sister to carry him. My friend smiled brightly, picked up her brother, and kissed his soft cheek twice. "See," Aunt Seraphina said, "it's not that there are no happy people in this world, it's just that we are truly too unlucky. But it's not our fault. If your parents don't love you, then you don't love them," Aunt Seraphina said softly. "When you completely let go of them, you'll realize that begging for a little love from them was the most foolish thing you ever did. Your future, whether it's bright or not, depends on your ability, education, and courage, not on your parents' illusory love. In fact, you'll live better without them." The high school entrance exam ended, and the final results were announced. Despite the small hiccup on the first day, my Chinese language score was only slightly flawed, and I still achieved excellent results. 3rd in the entire school, 7th in the city. My homeroom teacher contacted me, saying that the top 10 in the city could be directly admitted to a key high school in the provincial capital, asking if I wanted to go. I really wanted to, as the university acceptance rate there was extremely high, but the living expenses in the provincial capital were too expensive, which worried me. Aunt Seraphina, hearing this, advised me that I absolutely must go. "You don't need to worry about money. That school is a boarding school. The expenses aren't that high," she said, then handed me a bank card. "I've already discussed it with your father. From now on, he will deposit 1,000 yuan into this card every month as your living expenses." With this money as assurance, I agreed to the invitation from the key high school in the provincial capital. Outside the school gate, the golden list of admissions results was posted. Next to my name was the name of the most prestigious school in the province. Seeing this list, my father remembered me again. He said he wanted to take me out to eat. This time, there was no stepmother, no stepbrother, just the two of us. I didn't hesitate to choose a seafood restaurant I had long wanted to try. This restaurant averaged 200 yuan per person. Perhaps my father had forgotten that when Leo was just born, he had promised me that if I ranked first in class, he would take me to eat here. But later, when I achieved first place and eagerly wanted to go to the restaurant with him, I only received indifference and scolding. "Oh, Jade, you're so good, first place again. Leo is newly born. Household expenses are very high, Jiang Jade. Can't you be a little more understanding?" From then on, I tried my best to be a good daughter to my father, always thinking about how to be obedient and understanding, hoping that he would love me a little more. But now, I had come to my senses. What good was that illusory love? It wasn't even as real as a meal at this seafood restaurant. The strange thing was that when I no longer craved my father's love, he began to try and hold on to me. "Jade, here's 1,000 yuan, take it." During the meal, my father took out a red envelope and handed it to me. "Jade, I'm sorry. I've been busy with work these past years. Your aunt had to stay home to take care of your brother. We really did many unfair things to you. She's confessed everything to me, and I've scolded her." I slipped the money into my bag, a somewhat malicious smile curling on my lips, exactly like Aunt Seraphina's when she faced Grandma at the police station that day. "Dad, do you truly know nothing? Dad, how stepmother treated me, do you truly know nothing at all? Or do you know but just don't want to interfere? It's okay if your daughter is bullied. It's okay if your new wife is upset. As long as this house maintains a facade of peace, as long as you come home to a lit lamp and a warm meal, everything is fine." I think my smile must have been filled with sarcasm. "Dad, do you love me? Or do you love stepmother? Or do you love Leo?" "No, Dad, you don't love anyone," I said. "You only love yourself." My father sat still in his chair, bewildered by my words. "You stand in the role society assigned you, completing each step of the role. A good husband, a good father," I continued. "You needed a wife, so after Mom passed away, you quickly married stepmother. You needed a son to meet society's expectations of continuing the family line, so after remarrying, you had Leo. But what do you truly think? Do you have genuine feelings? What do you truly want? Or do you not even know yourself?" I looked at the man in front of me with calm eyes. Setting aside the title of father, I finally realized who he was. He was over 40, his career unremarkable, a complacent, low-level employee in the civil service system with no prospects for advancement, and his income was meager. Even calling him a cog in society was a bit of a stretch, but he was content. Within the family, he was the pillar, the one carrying the burden of the household. This was the expectation society placed on a man, but not every man had the ability to bear that expectation. So, when faced with the conflict between me and stepmother, he had no mind, or perhaps no ability, to resolve and change. He only knew how to cover it up to maintain a stable facade. An ordinary man, simply swept away by the currents of life, completing most of his time in this manner. But conflict is like a spring. The more it's repressed, the closer the breaking point becomes. Dad, I don't blame stepmother, and I don't blame you. In fact, I pity you somewhat. I put down my chopsticks and wiped my mouth. I only hope that in the future, I won't become a person like you. I only hope that in the future, I will realize what I truly want, what I truly love, instead of letting society sweep me away, allowing myself to be caught in the current of worldly affairs and living a life that is vague and meaningless. 3 years of boarding high school. My school gathered outstanding students from all over the province. The learning environment was very vibrant. I buried myself in my studies, eliminating all external distractions. Every month, my father still regularly transferred 1,000 yuan to my card, but he never appeared. Only Aunt Seraphina occasionally came to the provincial capital, called me out for a meal. Sometimes she was with a new boyfriend. Sometimes it was an unexpected cash gift transferred to my account. Even when I took the university entrance exam, she wasn't in the country but still sent a monetary gift, wishing me good luck. On the day of the university entrance exam, the school gate was packed with parents cheering. I walked into the exam room alone, my mind calm, taking the test step by step. There was no sense of unease, no self-pity. I had long understood that in this world, only you yourself will always stand behind you. Each of us is a free individual. After the university exam results were announced, Aunt Seraphina finally returned to the country. Seeing my scores, she was overjoyed. Though I didn't get into Tsinghua or Peking University, these scores were enough to get me into any university I wanted. I plan to work part-time during the summer break, I told her. Dad has stopped transferring my living expenses. As soon as I turned 18, the first month's 1,000 yuan was cut off. In my father's eyes, providing for my high school education had fulfilled his responsibility. Aunt Seraphina gave a bitter laugh and shook her head. Her right hand rummaged through her purse, pulling out a bank card. "This card has 300,000 yuan, she said, her voice tinged with sadness. "It's the money your mother left for you. She told me to give it to you after you turned 18. Mother? That word made me pause, feeling so distant that it took me a moment to grasp its meaning. The last memory I had of my mother was of her lying in a hospital bed, covered in tubes, eyes tightly shut when her illness was severe. When your mother was very ill, she found me and asked me to hold on to this money for you, Aunt Seraphina said. She also asked me to find a way to make sure that before she passed away, she would definitely leave you some security. I advised her to file for divorce first. At least legally, your inheritance rights would be secured. At that time, your parents' relationship was still good. No one thought he would remarry so quickly, not even your mother. But in the end, she still divorced. She said she couldn't let you face any risks. I blinked, feeling a stinging at the corners of my eyes. Fragmented memories suddenly strung together into a complete narrative. I remembered when I was 4, my father holding a stuffed rabbit, teasing me, "Jade, do you love Dad more or Mom more?" My mother, who was cleaning in the house, heard him and immediately stopped him. "Jade can love anyone she wants," she said, hugging me gently with a warm smile. "Jade, just remember that no matter what, Mom will always love Jade the most." I applied to a medical university in Beijing, hoping to become a doctor who saves lives. On enrollment day, Aunt Seraphina's new boyfriend drove us to the school. Her boyfriend was young but so serious that he insisted I call him Uncle. "Hello, Uncle, you're so handsome." My flattery made him beam like a flower, enthusiastically running up and down, moving luggage. While he was busy, I leaned close to Aunt Seraphina and whispered, "Aunt, is this one promising?" Aunt Seraphina scoffed, "All my boyfriends are for marriage." I stuck out my tongue, then suddenly remembered something. I went to the bank to check the transactions on that card, I whispered. When Mom passed away, there was only 100,000 yuan deposited. After that, for 8 years, there were no additional deposits, only interest. But for the past 3 years, several tens of thousands of yuan have been deposited periodically, finally accumulating to 300,000. Aunt Seraphina, all right, why are you explaining so clearly? She suddenly pinched my cheek, kneading it hard. I'm your Aunt Seraphina. Ow, it hurts, I cried out, quickly dodging. In that moment, my eyes suddenly stung, feeling a little moist. Yes, she would always be my beautiful and generous Aunt Seraphina. From now on in this life, I only wish that we would always be free and happy.